Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Meet the Shoe. I'm Sade.
And I'm Nina.
And today we have Miss Nickei on, and she's going to be our guest today. She's going to tell us her story. How I found her, I was just looking at some of her YouTube videos, and I'm just cracking up laughing. I'm like, oh, it's some cute one, good ones, and then some serious ones got on there. I'm like, oh my God, I feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? It's just at that time, I'm like, let me reach out to her, you know? And then I did, and I was like, do you mind being on our podcast? Because one struck me about her, something happened in prison when she was working in the prison system. So, which, great ado, here's Nickei, guys.
Hi, how y'all doing?
How you doing?
Tell us a story. Tell us about you.
Your journey on how you started YouTube. Yes.
Oh, okay.
What made you be an influencer? What got you started on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, everyone's familiar with YouTube. I used to watch videos and stuff. I never even thought about trying to become a content creator for YouTube. It was one day, I honestly started around 2019, but I started taking it seriously actually after I left corrections. So when I started taking it seriously in 2020, and I came across people who were telling like story times. Like their stories were just like crazy. It just captured me. I was like, I can actually relate to some of these people. So, and then I was just thinking to myself, I want to tell my stories.
Right.
Like, I have a pretty eventful life.
Right.
So let me get on here and tell them my stories, tell them what I've been through, and maybe someone else can feel the way I felt when I was watching other people in that niche.
Right.
So I definitely at first tried to feel out what I liked. First I tried fitness, then I tried this, I tried that. I tried a whole bunch of everything. But then I decided story times is where what I do best. That's my niche. That's my area.
Okay.
Talking about my life is not hard. I do it all the time. I've been telling my life all the time. So people was like, you should be a comedian. This and the third.
Right. Yeah.
Because I tell my stories in a comical way to make you enjoy it. Because it's a lot to digest.
Yes.
So I try to do it in that way because I'm just a goofy person. And then I just kept doing it and, you know, getting better at it. And then I ended up here.
So when did you become more consistent? Was it during lockdown when COVID happened and everything was shut down, or was it before that?
I think it was less about lockdown and more about well, actually, yes, it was about lockdown because I had a lot of time. At first, I was trying to get another job in the field of like security, but because of COVID, I wasn't able to continue training. So I was at home by myself, and I was just like, let me get on here and start telling stories, and let me do something because I'm bored.
Right.
I want to do something, so let me take this more seriously. I have time. There's nothing. And then I used to see all those posts on Instagram. If you don't make something out of yourself during this lockdown, then you ain't a hustler for real.
Right. Yes.
So wait, there was that guilt that was like, I'm finna tell this got to come out now.
That drive kicked in.
Right.
Yes, I said, I know that's right. Let's get up and do something. Because if I'm sitting around doing nothing and I don't get anything out of this, that's time wasted.
Right.
So I started getting myself together, put my iPhone up, propped it up, got a little ring light, and started recording, playing around with iMovie. Never edited before in my life.
Really?
Everything is on YouTube was teaching me, and I just played around with it. And then I decided to invest in a Mac. I got one off OfferUp because I wasn't paying full price.
Right.
Okay. I hear you.
Then I got a camera, and then I just expanded. So yeah, definitely it was lockdown, and then also me quitting corrections. That's when I decided something just hit me and said, I need to talk about what I just went through because it was a lot.
So when you started being consistent, what was your days like? How did you drop? How did you know? Did you listen to the other YouTube influencers tell you how to drop your videos and when and what?
I tried to listen to them, but it's something it doesn't work for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The same approach doesn't work for everyone.
Right.
So when I would try to do it their way, I felt like I wasn't getting the results.
Right.
I felt like they kind of tell you, like they tell you what they should, point you in the right direction. They give you the tools. That's great. But then at some point you have to put your own pizzazz, your own spin to it and do it the way you know how to keep it authentic.
Right.
So I think that when they were telling me, oh yeah, you got to do it like this and do it like this, I was like, I don't like that. I'm just gonna do it my way.
Yeah.
So, and it's just like when you do it like everybody else, it's hard for you to stand out. It's hard for you to get noticed if you're doing it just like everyone else. You're gonna get overlooked. So it was just a lot of thought that got put into what I was doing, especially like making content and stuff like that. I tried the trends and I ended up actually getting the wrong crowd.
Oh really?
No.
I got the wrong audience because I tried to do the Chloe Ting challenge. Hopped on the Chloe Ting challenge. At first, the instant gratification of the numbers went crazy. And then I was like, oh my goodness, I almost hit 500K views. This is big. But in all reality, they wanted me to keep making fitness content, but I wasn't a fitness channel.
Okay.
I was trying to take it from the angle of I want everyone to understand that you can be the best version of yourself, physically, emotionally, mentally, internally, all that. But you can also in different avenues, but it didn't work like that. So I actually spent a lot of my time flushing out the subscribers that weren't interested in my actual content and bringing in the new people. It took me a long time.
Really?
And how long did that take?
A year.
Really? So do you don't get any help? It's just you?
Just me.
She's doing good, right?
Yes, you are doing good. You do the editing and everything?
Everything.
Wow.
Good.
So you don't right in front of my Mac right now.
Right.
Yes. It's so much.
Do you so you don't never like so they say hire an editor, hire somebody to do your content, what is it called? The
creation
the
funnels and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
thumbnails.
Thumbnails. That's it.
I do it all on my own because I feel like so when I was in college, when I was in high school, I took a class called computer graphic.
Okay.
So they taught us how to use Photoshop, the whole Adobe suite. They taught us how to use Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, all of that.
Okay.
So I took that experience and then I tried to, I started making digital art as a pastime, something I was just interested in.
Okay.
So then when I took that, I was like, well, if I can make digital art from scratch, I can make a thumbnail.
Right.
So I got on Photoshop, and that's how I make my thumbnails on Photoshop. Some people use Canva and all those things, but I just use Photoshop and keep it like that. Download my fonts and things like that. But all of that I learned from high school.
Okay.
So I just apply that, and I don't like asking, letting other people. And I actually had one person edit for me one time, and I didn't like it because I just feel like it doesn't have my touch, my spin.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what I want in it. While I'm editing, an insert in my mind already comes in. And I'm like, I want that. I want that clip. I want that song. I want that. They don't know that. So, but if I ever found an editor that just knew
that could be you in your head, you would take them. Yeah.
Take me.
Yes.
Take it all.
Yes.
Have you ever? So you've never been on a podcast? Have you? Has anyone contacted you about coming in to speak? Because you tell really good stories. Girl, I was one day listening. I was like this, like, okay. Like, I didn't stop. I watched it the whole, it's hard to get people to watch you the whole time, right?
Right.
No, yours, I always watch the whole thing. Even if I'm like, okay, let me wait. Go to the bathroom or go do something and then come back. I've watched at least 6 of them. And this was just this weekend. So, are you gonna be one of the influencers that say, "This is how you do it"?
Yes.
Tell the people this is how you do it from step. I
am, because I think that people don't know that you can do it your way.
Right.
Yep.
And you don't have to always be so polished, and you don't always have to be, you can be yourself.
Right.
And be that person that you want to be, all the while still thriving on YouTube. Right. So I'm all about telling people how to do it. And I try to tell them as much as I can, because I went from thinking, oh yeah, you can't curse too much. You can't do this. You can't do that. Like you cannot, because that's what everyone else was doing. But am I right. Curse?
You could curse. Yeah, you could curse.
I'm people. Right. I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah. Like, right.
I mean, it's just who I am. Not everybody is. You're not here for every crowd. I'm for the people that want to hear that real, the raw, the unfiltered. And then on top of that, while I was creating my YouTube channel, I did study my niche. That's one thing I think people don't do.
Right.
Study your niche, but don't end up being like them.
Okay.
Watch them and learn what you would do differently.
Okay.
I noticed that in my niche, people have a tendency to tell stories and give a lot of unnecessary details or repeat themselves too much. So in my niche, in my videos, I said, I'm not going to repeat myself. If you miss it the first time, you're not going to understand the whole story.
Right.
So don't try to skip past, because
yes.
or cut out the unnecessary words, because people don't want to sit here and be like hearing the and what did I just say? They don't want none of that. They want you to get to the point. That's another thing. Get straight to the point.
Straight to the point.
Time to waste.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, those are things that I said, I'm going to start applying that. So, that's why my editing style is so choppy, because the moment you start to slip, boom, here comes another clip. Like,
okay. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So how long did it take you to get 1,000 subscribers? Everybody's trying to get this first 1,000. Girl, it's hot. It's hot out here for a pimp. I'm telling you.
She about to lose it.
I'm about to lose my mind up in here.
So I would say I got my 1,000 from that trend. I will say the wrong 1,000.
Right.
I jumped on the trend, and when I started taking it seriously in 2020, within 6 months I was monetized by my birthday. So my birthday was in June. But it was because I hopped on the trend, and then granted, I still incorporate like my motivational speeches and stuff in my channel. But people were still focused on fitness. Now, when I say story time wise, my 1,000, I feel like that didn't come to last year.
Okay.
2021.
Okay.
And I think it was all when I started incorporating my new camera. So when the quality got better and I got the Mac, that's when it really started to pour in. And then I started just hitting the ground running. And then ever since then, just post. Now, I also will say that 1,000 will come, because if you use this app called TubeBuddy.
Yes, I heard of that. I heard of that. TubeBuddy.
I swear by TubeBuddy, I'll tell anyone who has ears. TubeBuddy.
What the heck is that?
It's a hat that does the content, right? It helps you with the right content for like you, right? Your personality. Is that the one?
Oh, wow.
Well, it pretty much, it's called the Keyword Explorer, right?
Okay, that's it.
So you go in there and you start typing in your potential titles. It'll tell you how you can rank. So your video will be the first one seen.
Okay.
And it will tell you, like, so if they say, it'll have a meter out of 100. If your title is bad, it'll tell you it's a bad title.
Okay.
And then it'll tell you what also tags to put in your tag box, and they'll recommend things like that for you. I honestly give it out like it's free game. TubeBuddy is the one that really shot me up to where I am now.
Okay.
And that and vidIQ, those two.
Yeah.
And then if you want, you can use Keyword Explorer, where you see what other people are putting other keywords. But if you want to be in your own lane and kind of do your own thing, TubeBuddy is going to tell you exactly what you need to put in.
Because when we do the research on like women, and then Black women on topics of like prison politics, entertainment, things like that, it's not too much on YouTube. It's not. And so it's like, okay,
we gotta get up there somehow.
We gotta hurry, because like I tell her, it's gonna be somebody coming after, that talk about what we talk about. You know what I'm saying? The topics that we talk about. So we're not worried about it. It's just that we got to get the going on it, because they're going to be looking at us to say, oh, they was here. They typed it in, and this is what came, because it's what comes up. Like you're saying, you type in the topic, TubeBuddy is telling you what's in your niche, right?
It's telling you tweak that title.
Okay.
And once you tweak that title and it gives you like the green light, it turns it into a green meter, and it tells you this is an excellent setup in your title.
Right.
And it'll even tell you like the average people, like how much you can reach. It's just, it tells you the whole thing.
Okay.
Once it does that, I pay for it. It's like it ranges on different prices. And then I just use that. I've been swearing by that ever since.
Okay. I know, right?
Look, that's better. Look, that's better than the editor, huh?
Okay.
Right.
Going back before you became a YouTuber, you worked in a correctional facility. How was that working there? Were you were in an all men facility?
Yes, I worked in a men's facility, and I also used to work at a max female just to help out. Sometimes I would volunteer.
Okay.
I was working there, and before I did YouTube, I was doing YouTube on the side, just a little bit, but not seriously. But it was an interesting experience.
Okay.
Wow.
I will say interesting because a lot of it comes with both good and bad.
Okay.
Everyone said it's all about how you make it.
Right.
How you make that experience determines how your days will go. So I will say though that working corrections did provide me a lot of opportunities. Job wise afterwards, I had some very good jobs just solely off the corrections experience alone. But working there,
it was, I bet. Okay, were you one of those officers that was mean and nobody couldn't stand to see you, or you was the one of the ones the guys like, hey, come here, hey girl,
come here,
what's up?
Let me tell you this.
Or you know.
It don't matter. Honestly, it don't matter if you're a good or a bad officer. They're gonna do that regardless,
right?
But as long they don't see many women, so they're gonna try their hand,
right?
Okay.
But when it came to being the type of officer I was, they always tell you to stay true to yourself, but make sure that you follow the policy and do what you have to do.
Right.
Over time, people's opinions will try to change what type of officer you should be.
Right.
Okay.
Because they don't tell you to act that way in the academy. It's the other officers around you that don't like it. They're like, I don't know why you do that. And then you feel compelled to change because that's how they act.
Right.
But if you have that strong sense of self,
right,
you will be a great officer. So I think that I was not a mean officer, honestly.
Okay.
I was stern. I was actually pretty easygoing until you pissed me off.
Right.
But it takes a lot to piss me off. If
right.
I tell you time and time again that I need something done, I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not going to do none of that.
Right.
I just need it done. And you somehow do something disrespectful after I've tried to be very calm and collected with you, then yeah, you're going to see a little bit of attitude. It's only natural. But,
yes.
But typically I was definitely the one that was always checking in. I was very involved. I was always doing rounds. Some people don't like to be in their face or around them and stuff like that. I'm in there.
Right.
So,
I know when you talk about doing rounds, did you ever have any guys, they're like, oh, she's coming by. I'm going to be naked when she comes by.
Oh,
and you see that?
Oh my God.
I'm going to have my pants, be in my boxer shorts.
Right, right. Have my cologne on. She got to come in here. I'm going to put my cologne on because she got to come in here and check.
They did try to get a little extra cute when I would come around, but after a while, it's too much to keep up with because they say you're supposed to do rounds every, I believe, like 30 minutes or so.
Right.
But I never stopped walking. So by the time you look, there I go again.
Right.
I keep walking around and around and around and around.
Right.
And after a while, there's nothing you could do. I'm on the move.
Okay.
People told me this, like, you got to slow down.
Right.
Don't go around too much.
Okay.
Did you ever get into a fight with any of the people? Like any of the inmates, or have to like restrain to where you're like, oh man, I'm scared. Like,
I had arguments, but I never had to restrain.
Okay.
I never had to do that. When there were fights, thankfully, I was not on the floor.
Oh, good. That's good.
But there was a time where there was this guy, and it wasn't anything personal. He was just upset about something else, and it was a lot of us around him. He felt like it was an ambush. It's a lot. A lot of people have a lot going on mentally, so it's all about the way you approach people. Right. And when you come in there, guns blazing type, everybody's like, "Yeah, have a get up on the wall." Like, of course, you're gonna feel like you have to defend yourself. So that's pretty much what was going with that. But I didn't get into a situation. It was more a lot of the men handling that.
Okay.
Now in the female facility, I accidentally got punched, I think, in my little
Really?
I accidentally got punched in my coochie by.
Oh my God. Oh wow. Was she a midget?
How did you she a midget? You was y'all's a mess.
She almost punched me right in my lady part. She did hit me. She punched me and it hurt a lot. That was a lot going on there.
Right.
I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And what did she target you, or was she fighting someone else?
She was fighting with someone else.
Okay.
And I just so happened to be near her, and then the arm cocked back. And just hit me right there. And she was down below, and I was standing over her and just ended up getting uppercutted right up in there. And I was
yeah. No. That's like riding a 10-speed bike, a boy's 10-speed bike, and you hit the handlebar, you fall on it. Ooh, girl, that's some hurtful stuff, baby. Oh, man, you be hurt for days.
Okay, wait, when you saw her, Nikki, when you
in pain, I wanted to just scream out.
When you saw her, Nikki, when you went back to work after, or she came out the hole or whatever, how did she apologize to you?
She didn't even remember.
Oh, wow.
She was in a different mode. And I was like, I'm not bringing this up because I'm not going to. That's embarrassing. I'm like, you accidentally punched me. I don't even know how to approach that.
Right. Okay. Oh, my gosh.
Oh. Wait, you was one of them situations where you was like, I'm going to leave that alone.
I'm going to leave that alone.
Exactly.
Right. I knew why she was upset. I knew what was going on. I just so happened to get caught in the crossfire.
Okay.
Right. Oh, wow. So you said you was in a women's maximum. What was the most time a woman had? I mean, that you know of a woman having the most time?
Right. And how did they act?
Right.
Just life, honestly.
Life.
And they just acting really calm. Like it's nothing to get rowdy over. It's almost like they're just tired.
Yeah.
Like they're just fed. They're just like, it is what it is.
Right. Oh wow.
When you watch
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, when you watch the women prison versus the men prison, what was from your perspective, what was that visiting room like with the visiting, the women getting visits versus the men getting visits? Like, cause the women getting held down versus the men getting held down.
Right.
How was that?
I actually I didn't get to, they didn't even put me in visitation. Unfortunately, I know. I wanted to see the difference.
Right.
Because I just got to see how they do visitation, because I already know how the men get down.
Right.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to see how the women did it.
Right.
But unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see that. They would put me in the housing units.
Okay.
But you did see the men go to have visits?
Oh, yes.
So did they have a lot of visits? You know what I'm saying? Men tend to get more women coming visiting their mates or whatever.
They had a lot of visits coming in. Rooms full. Like, we would have one room, a smaller room, and then we would have a big gym, and they would usually fill it up. Wow. Like, families would come in, and then there would be times where they would get one set of people visiting, and then a new set of people come in and they leave.
Okay.
And they'll still be doing their visitation. So it's like, it could be an all-day thing, honestly.
Wow.
Okay.
It's just a lot of people that come in and support.
Did you ever see the women fight? Anybody in the visiting fight, like a one woman, they bump heads, like one girl's coming to see the two girls seeing the same man?
I will say this, they're smart.
Oh, the men?
They will never mix the two.
Ooh,
what? Really?
They will never mix the two.
They slick.
Okay.
They will have one girl, and they'll do their thing. The girl will leave, kiss bye, and then the other girl will come later. I've never seen them cross the two.
That's so good. Wow. Because I bet that would be ooh-wee. Nobody even in the parking lot or nothing?
No, because we don't... they don't like reveal all that information unless somebody walks up and is like, hey, are you here to see? If you're just out here chatting and you a chatty patty talking to everybody, that's when you're going to find out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Typically, it's not us.
Right.
It's something going on inside.
Right. In the waiting area. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we keep that. That's
So
not.
how did you compose yourself with nice looking men in that you had to, be in there? You're in there 8 hours. It's like you're locked up too.
Yeah.
Whatever your shift is, you're locked up too, because you're locked in too with them. So how did you compose yourself with, refrain from, ooh, he is fine, and you just keep
right. Yes.
There are attractive men in prison, and I think people don't grasp that concept that just because they're locked up don't mean they're ugly.
Right.
So, and then on top of that, it's easy for women to get caught up because just because they're locked up doesn't mean they're not intelligent either.
Right.
So, but usually I just keep my composure because the game. The way they spin it to you, I've heard it already.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, like, when they spin it to you, it's something that you've heard. It's something that the men out here are saying. You know?
Right.
So
Exactly.
if you've been around, then you know. If you've been around, they be like, yeah, I'm about to get out. Like, I'm trying to fuck with you. Like, come on.
Right. All right.
Come on, baby. I don't
and
know
they're really trying to do it for them to have bragging rights, right? Yeah, for them to be, Mr. Macho on the yard or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And there's usually witnesses. So that means that they're doing that so they can have that conversation after, like, yeah, you see how I did that? Like,
exactly.
Once you keep that in your mind,
yep,
you already know this is a show.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So they're just performing.
Right.
And that's just kind of how you have to keep that in mind, to keep yourself leveled.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly.
Well, I'm trying to think. What else can we? I'm thinking. What?
What you want to like? Scared to ask.
What was a shoe moment? So we call it the shoe moment. If you ever had a situation
to where you almost landed yourself in prison, being that you were working there, and it, what did you go through at the time that you was working there that prevented you, like, no, if I do this, then the roles is gonna switch. I might be in that shoe in that hole if I do, XYZ, or if I, retaliate, even to a coworker. Like, how did you deal? Was there any situation that you had where you had to deal with that?
Yeah, I could give you one, officer wise and
okay.
Okay.
So officer wise, just me about to be in there scrapping with these officers. It was really
look, I'm like,
they just made me want to just put my hands on. And sometimes it's like, I think that people forget that at the end of the day, with or without the badge, we piss and shit in the same pot.
Yeah.
Right.
So when people start to lose sight of that concept and they start getting a little ahead of themselves, that's when it starts to rub me the wrong way. Because I feel like we're a team. We're supposed to, be working together. We're supposed to make sure that we get home. We have a job to do. So when you start coming in here with the emotional stuff and the gossiping and people going up against each other and plotting on each other, that's when. And I'm not one of those people that bite my tongue. So I'm gonna come up to you. I'm gonna talk to you about it, and I dare you to lie.
Right.
So that's pretty much what that was. Just constant situations with officers not understanding that. I understand that we're in uniform and stuff like that, but don't get on your high horse. We're still on here,
Right.
Inmates now. When I was in there with the guys. They know how to spin it to you to bring in them drugs. Okay,
right.
People, the way they pitch it to you, it's almost, it makes you think like
you could get away with it, get some money.
Thankfully, I didn't get caught up in that, but it has been pitched to me. I'm sure it's been pitched to everybody.
Right.
So, but people are afraid to admit it. But you know good and well that somebody was like, yeah, we can make this money.
Right.
I have somebody send you some money to your Cash App or whatever.
Right.
And you do what you're supposed to do. It's been brought up. So it's up to you if you fall into it or not. But I will say, there are some salesmen up in there.
Oh yeah,
that that need to get, when they get out, they need to be a salesman.
Right.
Okay, right. They probably were salesmen before they went in.
Right. It almost sounds enticing, though.
Right.
It was.
You gotta remind yourself.
Right. Don't do it.
Right.
Exactly. Because we were just did a podcast some weeks ago, and they were talking about how they found so many cell phones in this prison.
Yes, 19. 19. So somebody dropped a dime on that officer. The officer didn't get caught.
No.
It was one of the inmates did. And because they caught him, they said they took their visits and their phones.
All their visits.
They took the visits and the phones for the holidays. They waited for the holidays. But 19, that's the officers that brought it in, right? The thing about it is the officers get paid their salary, they stay for the, bringing it in. That's why they stay an officer, because they're like, dang, I could just be paid. This is paying all my bills for 2 years, because I'm consistent with what I'm bringing in, you know?
Exactly.
Did you ever see?
It's enticing. It's enticing because officers aren't getting paid that much. You're working crazy. I worked a 12-hour shift.
Wow.
You in there from sunrise to sunfall.
Right.
And then, you don't get a chance to see your family. You don't get a chance to have a social life.
Right.
And then you're making dirt pay almost, unless you start busting out overtime. Right. And that's more of your time getting taken for all of this that we're doing.
How did your relationships work? Like, when you were locked up, just having a relationship and being, you didn't have one?
I couldn't have one. I tried talking to guys, but they couldn't keep up with my schedule.
Right. Okay.
I can't bring my phone in there. So when they're texting me, I'm usually too tired, or I'm on the way to work early in the morning. So I'm texting you at 5 a.m.
Right.
And then I'm not getting back to you till the next day, because by the time I get home, I'm showering and going to sleep. And I don't make it to the gym.
Right.
So it's not enough time for us to, and then on top of that, I was an overtime shark. I loved working overtime because that pay wasn't enough.
Right.
And I was just constantly in there all the time. So I wasn't able to have a romantic life.
Okay.
And I think that's also why people get caught up in these relationships as well, because you're not able to have a social life. You're not able to see your friends. You're too tired.
Okay.
So they're the only ones you see all day consistently.
Well, wait a minute. Well, what you didn't never get none? You didn't never do nothing? Like what? Like this? Oh, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go to work.
Okay.
I mean, what?
Well, I mean, I've been on a celibacy journey, so that stuff is not really something that I'm too crazy about. It's cool, but I mean, I once I invested in my toy, it was a wrap.
Okay, I know that's right.
Look, the toy is your partner, huh?
Okay.
No complaints and don't talk, and you control it.
Don't give you no problem.
Right.
So
pick it up when you want.
Right. Yeah, that was your pick up and put down. Huh?
Right. So that part was taken care of, and then honestly, socially, like I'm an extrovert, so I get I like talking to different people. I like being in situations where you can be around different personalities. So working in the prison was perfect for me.
Okay.
So all of that, like getting the talking and interacting with different walks of life, I got all that at work. So I was good.
Right.
So it was just like, and it didn't even have to be on like a personal level. It was definitely just me talking to them and listening to their stories, checking in on them to see if they're doing good. They're going to classes. They're doing all that stuff and having conversations with them. And sometimes they'll tell you what's going on in their life, like personal issues that they're having, people dying, different things. Or, when you actually get involved and talk to them, you get all you need to know. you get your fix of talking.
Yes.
What, okay, wait, 2 things before we let you go. Okay, what is like the worst, I guess, story of a person that was locked up that you had to, you had to interact with them, but the officers is like, whispering around, or the inmates even are saying like they're not together mentally, but you had to deal with them. What's the worst situation that you heard of, like case in there?
this one guy, I think he was in there for 9,999 years.
Whoa.
When you looked at his thing, he was just in there. It just said straight nines across the board.
Wow.
He was never getting out.
Okay.
And he was in there, and I honestly don't know the full details of the story. I just know he was in there for like something big, crazy. It was a crazy story, but he wasn't all the way right in the head. At first glance, you would think that he was a happy-go-lucky type of person. He was very quiet, very respectful, but he wasn't right.
Okay.
Everything was definitely, he was struggling mentally. It was a big issue of mental disorder. It was definitely something he was going through. And he basically would, I feel like you can kind of gauge how you need to talk to people. When you kind of get around them enough, you kind of see. He suffered with PTSD, but it was very bad.
Okay.
So I think that after a while, I would just check in on him, and just all the time he was very quiet. You just kind of checking on him. Hey, how you doing? I don't want him to go crazy. He was
right.
But everybody was saying he wasn't here with us.
Right.
So I'd be like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Because the silent mind, I don't know what's going on in the silent mind.
Right.
So, for all you know, you could want to set this place up. I don't know what's going on. So I like to check it. Hey,
right.
So, eventually, I guess he just came to me and told me that I'm about to lose it in about a couple seconds. And I was like,
And you was like, did you get away from him?
No, I said, what you mean?
Right.
I don't get scared of stuff.
Right.
I don't know how to explain it. I think after a while, you can kind of see, you can kind of feel, you can kind of tell where this is going.
Right.
But he told me, he was like, I'm just losing it. I feel like I'm going to lose it. And then he was just like, I don't know what to do. So that's when I pulled him out into the foyer. And I was just talking to him, and when he tells the story, it's really rough. Like he had been through some things that he was hurting someone that hurt him. And then, hurt his child. So he was hurting someone that hurt his child. And then people were jealous of him while he was incarcerated. So they broke his kneecaps. And then he just had a lot of different things just in his mind. So then he was saying that he felt like, because he was ex-military, so whatever training was going on, he was SEAL on top of that. SEALs ain't no joke.
Right.
So he had a lot just floating thoughts.
Flashbacks.
Through his head.
Yeah. So
wow.
When he would tell me, he was like, I'm going to get to that point where I'm going to hurt somebody. I just got on the phone with psych immediately. Like, we got to shut this whole thing down, because he's saying that he's not good, and for him to even tell me that he's not good is a big step in itself.
Yes, it is.
So for you to feel comfortable to even come to me and tell me like I'm about to do something crazy, so help me, you can't ignore that. You have to help. So that's honestly one of the big things. It was actually common when guys would
come and tell you their mental illness. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. And what since you've been successful on YouTube, how do you deal with family with telling them no, or friends with, because, they're watching your numbers, they're watching your channel, they see your success, and they say,
you getting paid.
Hey, can I borrow some money? Can you pay this, do that? How do you deal with saying yes or no?
I tell them, no, I don't got it. But they already know that, the type of person that I am is like, now that I started coming into that type of revenue,
right,
I take care of them before they ask.
Okay.
And then like, I just want to just let them know, like anyone that's stuck around me and has always made it an easy experience for me to be myself and to grow and evolve as the woman that I'm becoming. I'm going to take care of you the way you took care of me.
Yeah.
Because that's a big job.
Very, very good.
Especially when you're taking YouTube seriously, you don't have a lot of time to check in and stuff like that. You're busy.
Right.
So if you still find it in yourself to like understand that and not hold it against me, I'm going to extend that kindness to you. So they never feel the need to ask me for anything, because I don't just buy flashy stuff. I invest in you the way you've invested in me.
Right.
That's the best gift that I can give to you.
Right.
And it's just like, if you invest into me being mentally sound and and you supporting me while I'm trying to be big and let people see me from all over the world, it's only right that I return that favor to you, because that's how I show my love.
That's a blessing.
So they never feel the need to ask. They usually just be like, I ain't gonna lie to my mom. She does get a little. She's like, so, are you at the store?
I know, right?
Telling my mom is the hardest one.
Right.
My mom deserves the world.
That's right.
But it's like, I want to give her the world, but I don't. First, I gotta get myself set up first.
Yes.
So I have to explain it to her in a way where, Ma, you gotta let me put my feet on the ground first before I take you to where you need to take me. I'm no good to you weak like this.
Right.
I'm strong enough to pick you up. So let me do me and build up my strength and do what I have to do, get myself together, and then we'll talk about that.
Right.
But right now, since she's not used to it, she's like, wait a minute, you gave me this? Because y'all, I'm on my mama. My mom was crying about his washing machine. She wanted his washing machine. They told her I bought her this brand new washing machine. Then I went here and bought her this, and then I took her shopping. And I'm like, she's not used to this type of stuff.
Oh, that is so sweet.
That was a blessing for you to even do that.
Washing machine, girl.
Wow. I wish I wish you could have secretly recorded her. We would have been crying.
Okay.
I tried, because I just put the receipt on the sofa and I put her name on the front.
Right.
Because we had to get it delivered. And then she was like, what the hell is this? She opened it up and she saw the receipt, and she just almost fell out, because she came from Jamaica. She went from coming over here, she went from cleaning shit to grinding her way up to make a life for me.
Right.
So I'm a first generation.
Right. Of wealth.
And all that.
Right.
So I'm like, you came here and broke your neck.
Oh, God.
To make
so
a way
sweet.
for me.
Oh,
so it's only right. My mom and my dad too. My dad, he already knows.
Right.
So,
how's he adjusting? How's he adjust to you being successful?
He actually doesn't know.
He don't.
He thinks you're doing something illegal?
No, he doesn't know where it's coming. He knows I do YouTube, but he asked to see my channel, and I told him that it would be best if he didn't.
Okay.
Because my dad is very protective, and I have that. I'm a daddy's girl, so I have the sweet, innocent look to him. I can't do any wrong. And a lot of my videos talk about the mistakes that I also made in a lot of my situations, relationships, all that stuff.
Right.
So he's gonna look at me like, you mean to tell me your boy did this? He's gonna lose it. So I can't even.
Yes, you better not tell him.
Yeah, don't tell him. Don't you tell him.
I'm like, Daddy, you don't need to see that.
Right.
He's like, let me see the channel. I was like, you don't need to see it. Just know that I'm doing my thing.
Okay.
And I'm okay.
What else do you what do you have going on for the rest of the year? You're just gonna continue to put out. You got great videos, girl. Keep that going.
I'm actually working on expanding to a different platform as well.
Okay.
But right now, I'm actually in the process of expanding to Patreon with more raw and unfiltered videos. Because on this platform, you kind of have to be a little
tread low,
right. You have to watch your wording, or you're gonna get hit with that yellow.
Right.
So,
okay.
I told him, I told myself I was going to expand onto a different platform where I can kind of tell my stories a little bit more openly,
right,
without having to censor myself and cut out certain clips out of fear that I'm not going to get monetized.
Okay.
Right.
So I plan on doing that, and then I'm also going to start a beauty channel as well, so I could talk about my hairstyles, because I do hair too.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you make sure you keep us updated, and you reach out, let us know, so we can support the other channels.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yes,
thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
Yes, we will be in touch for sure. And let everybody know now what other platforms that you're on. Are you on Instagram?
Yes, follow me on Instagram at Maroon Nickei, MaroonNickei.
Okay.
And I'm also on Twitter, TikTok, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm working on my Patreon. So go ahead and check out my channel on YouTube, Maroon Nickei as well.
All right.
Thank
you,
you.
Nikki.
Have a good night, Nikki. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What we can do is MBC. No relation to NBC.